the day I landed in Chicago, like my first time in the US, 3 days later, I was down with chicken pox. I think somebody infected me at the plane or something. I never stepped out of my apartment for 2 weeks, but I came into my apartment fully furnished. A student.
Wow.
Picked up my furniture back from the storage and set up my apartment. Got food delivered to my door by people that I know and people that I did not. So somebody got me like a phone number so I could like reach people at home. The support was amazing and it's transcended through settling in at school, starting classes. Booth from day one, they're handing over the reins of your experience to you. Had current students hold sessions to like bring us up to speed, had fantastic wives who created time out of their own personal life to handle those. It was fantastic. And I think current or future classes have tried to like replicate and improve on this support.
Welcome to a special production of the Business 101 podcast. I am your host, Ayo Oye. This is a limited series specifically sharing stories and experiences from some of the world's most selective and most prestigious business schools from the lens of recent international graduates. Today, I have the immense honor of welcoming a special guest from one of the coldest business schools in the US and one that needs no introduction. Ranked consistently as one of the most prestigious in North America and the world, Booth School of Business at the University of Chicago. Today's guest is Sharon Nwani, an operations leader who in her current role serves as a Pathways Operations Manager at Amazon. She is a class of 2025 Booth MBA graduate, where she served as co-chair of both the Booth Africa Club and the Emerging Markets Club at Booth, driving initiatives that unlocked the power of community, collaboration, and opportunity across borders. Before Booth, he worked across developmental finance, consulting, and strategy roles in Sub-Saharan Africa and South America. She drove over $500 million worth of financing and supply chain transformation projects at the Bank of Industry, Market Access Africa, and the Africa Foresight Group. She holds a bachelor's degree in philosophy from University of Benin and is a certified management consultant and a Stevie Awards George. Sharon's passion lies in building inclusive, tech-enabled supply chain systems that help businesses grow, and she's on a mission to strengthen operational infrastructure globally, one meaningful solution at a time. All of that being said, please welcome Sharon Nwani to the podcast. Good to have you here, Sharon.
It's good to be here, Ayu. It's nice to, yeah, it's good to be here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to have you here. I feel like I read a very abridged version of your profile. I didn't want to spend the whole conversation within it, but I also wanted to give you a few minutes to add some flesh to the profile I just read. So, who is Sharon Nwani, and specifically, before the MBA, who was Sharon Nwani?
So I think you said it all, honestly. Maybe outside of what you read, I am the firstborn of my parents. I am the only daughter. I have two amazing younger brothers that I love so much, but they're very annoying as brothers should.
As they should be.
Hello. What else did you not mention that is very important to me? I do love to travel. I am on a mission to complete 30 countries before I'm 30. Doing terribly at that.
How are we doing on that?
I was just leading into that. I'm at country 13, but to be fair, I started 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago, January 2020.
Yeah.
I think this year alone I've done 5, so not
Ah,
bad.
okay.
I
Not
probably
bad
won't
at all.
be able to meet up that target, but I do love to cook. Cook for myself and friends. So it's more like
Why was that?
I
Was it
like to cook.
was it important to
I mean,
spell it out?
it was important to put that caveat because
Okay,
I'm not going to cook for someone that I feel might judge my cooking. I cook for
fair,
people that
fair.
like if it's too peppery, if it's too
They
salty,
were still
they would
they
be
were
like,
still
"Oh,
taking it
you
love.
love, you're gonna eat it anyways."
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, I think that's about it. I think you did a very stellar job with the introduction, so I don't want to take too much time on that.
No worries. And we're gonna touch a bit more, here and there on those experiences as we continue. But you had done this amazing stuff, worked with some of the most prestigious organizations across Africa and South America. And so I'm wondering, why was an MBA important? When did the MBA coming to the conversations? What were the thoughts that led to you deciding, okay, I'm gonna take a break and go to get an MBA?
So, because you said it's a conversation between friends, I'm just going to be very honest.
Yeah.
Nigerian parents really like it when their children have, like, a master's, a PhD, blah, blah, blah. So there was that, like, pressure from my parents, not pressure,
Okay.
but like I would say motivation from my parents to
Yeah.
get a graduate degree. I did finish undergrad really young at like 18, 19. So they were like, oh, would you do law again?
Hmm.
Or would you not
Interesting.
get a master's and, get a PhD, do all these things? So I feel like family wise, I always was going to get a graduate degree, but my parents thought it was going to be close to home, maybe a university in the country or university in the
Okay.
States. I'm sure my mom would have loved if I did my master's in Unilag and she would just be picking me up from,
Yeah.
all of that. And so I will say a graduate degree was specifically in my future. But I kind of knew that I wanted something different. I was very excited to school abroad, and
Okay.
not even gonna lie, I never really considered any other country or continent aside the United States or North America.
Interesting.
So I did want to get a master's. I did consider, maybe a master's in management or a master's in finance or a master's like a very more specified graduate degree. And then I had a conversation with an industry leader in Nigeria, Abraham Durosawo. So he told me, and I remember very clearly, this was at the cusp of me rounding up my National Youth Service. It's the mandate 1 year program in Nigeria. And it was like, oh, do an MIM at Duke Fuqua, do an MIM at, he mentioned some of like the best schools, but I remember he did mention Duke specifically. And I started my research and I was like, I think I went to their website one day and I saw that they had the MBA, MIM, MBA or MIM path. I was like,
Yeah.
MBA, let me go see that. And I was like, okay. I realized that most of the leaders that I have worked with in Africa Foresight Group, in Market Access Africa, that's like a consulting stint I did in Switzerland, most of them had MBAs. And I was like, okay, the people that have led some of the most fantastic initiatives I've had the opportunity to work with had this. And I feel like that was what just like, that was what planted the seed.
Mhm.
Really.
That makes sense.
And yeah, that
Interesting.
was it.
Yeah, interesting. And you spoke about the gentle touch, and let's call it that, from your parents, right? Was that from their personal, I guess, achievement, the academics? Like, is there a reason particularly why they were like, oh, you guys have to get a master's or a PhD?
Sorry.
Is there a PhD in your future? Should we be planning for a PhD announcement sometime?
I just graduated from Booth. It's going to take me
Okay.
3 years to recover
Of that.
from the mental. Booth is fun, and this is
Mhm.
like for insiders, but Booth is very academically, it would stretch you a lot.
As it should, as it should, as it should.
Class size is over 650.
Almost 1,000. Oh, I thought it was even closer to 900 or
No, no,
something.
no, no, no. It was over like
Okay.
600, over 700-ish.
Okay.
And so
Not
it
too
was a
bad.
lot of social interaction, the most I have ever done in my life. So the MBA was
Mm.
fantastic, but
Yeah.
I should take time out to maybe focus on whatever it is I'm doing now.
Okay.
For PhD. I'm also
Interesting.
fortunate. I'm the first person to have like a 4 year college degree in my home. So it's
Okay.
not like my parents wanted me to do it because they were academics. They wanted me to have the things they didn't have. They wanted me
Amazing.
to
Amazing.
access the opportunities they couldn't access or that they wish they had. So yeah, I think they're very fantastic parents and they
Shout
just
out.
shout out to them. Shout out to them. They just keep pushing me to do the things that they couldn't do or they didn't have the opportunity to. So that was it.
Amazing. Amazing. I like the fact that as you're talking, you're touching bits and pieces of like everything I want to talk about. So my next question was going to be around, decision making in terms of Europe versus North America. And because I know those are like the two popular, MBA destinations. And you did say that you never considered any continent outside of North America. Was there a specific reason? I mean, there are great schools in Europe, great schools, on
Oh,
other
sure,
continents.
100%.
So was there a reason why it was North America or bust?
Not gonna lie, I really do love the way of life in Europe. I also did an exchange in HEC Paris.
Yes, you did. Yes.
It's not like I had like any specific, oh, I don't want to go to Europe or whatever. HEC was if I was gonna apply to any school that was in Europe, it would probably be HEC. I love that wee wee baguettes, Sharon in Paris. energy. But I think, just being very authentic, I think I'm a capitalist at heart, honestly.
Fair.
I am a very capitalistic person, and I did see a lot of transfer from individuals having North American degrees to other parts of the world more than I
Okay.
saw other parts of the world moving
To
to.
North America. Yeah,
It was a case like, oh, if I have a degree from North America, I can decide to work in the Middle East if I want to. I can decide to work in Europe if I want to. I didn't see a lot of the reverse happening in terms of like
yeah,
now movement.
yeah.
That was what it was. I will also say, I mean, my friends too, honestly, I had a very interesting network of people who were also considering the MBA at that time, you being one of them. And most of them were like, very, like to go to the United
From
States.
America.
I'm like, okay, I mean, it's meant to be.
Yeah.
So I did that, but my love for the European way of life and Europeans' proximity or Europe's proximity to Africa still remained. So that was why I made sure that like once I got recruiting and my internship out of the way, I did apply for the IBEP program at Booth to spend 3 months in HEC. It's also a way for me to escape from the Chicago winter. This is me just being honest.
I like it.
So yeah.
I like it. And we're going to talk about your internship, your exchange experience at some point. Yeah, you touched on a number of very important things. One being the fact that, but and it's kind of experiential as well, personal anecdote too. I kind of observed that the rest of the world, or particularly Europe and say EMEA, they're a bit more receptive to like non-Europe, non-EMEA MBAs or degrees. But
Exactly.
America seems to be like very pro-America. So it makes sense to get America and then if opportunities open up somewhere else,
I
you
mean,
can
I would also
translate
say
that.
quantity
Makes sense.
factors into it. And I know this is a very warped and limited view, but looking at
Yeah,
the top 20 MBAs, look at the class size, it's a lot.
fair.
Yes, it equals the number of opportunity, but we also see the number of opportunities shrinking. So if
Yeah.
people who study in America are not getting as much opportunities as it used to be, I wonder where the opportunity is for um
Non,
yeah, do you get?
yeah,
I mean, this
yeah,
is without as much data as I would prefer.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that's basically it.
That's a learned way to look at it. I like the fact that you're very methodical in your decision making, very data driven.
That's a booth.
I like that. Yes.
I'm
I mean, this was before both, but yes, both material. Let's call it that. Both material. Yes, perfect. Sharon, was there any point in the process where you almost did not go for the MBA? Were there doubts along the way, or was it once you decided to go, yes, go all the way?
I think it was a bit of both.
Okay.
So just like walking back through the process, I don't, or 90% of the times, I don't engage in things that I'm not going to follow through with. So that's just like a principle that I work with. If I'm going to go through a very expensive, arduous, and strenuous journey, it
Those are the right
would
adjectives. Yes.
a gross injustice to myself to not see it through. But irrespective of that, there were moments where I felt like I wasn't doing the right thing personally, professionally, and financially. So starting with personally, I think I never really realized how far America was from home until I got a flight ticket. At that point, I was like, "Huh?" I moved out.
19 hours or something.
I mean, with Delta, you can do 11 to be fair. That's
Okay.
short.
Yeah. Okay, not too bad.
I think I've always lived. So my nuclear unit were very tight, like very, very tight. So throughout undergrad, if I finish my exam 8 a.m., I'm in Lagos by 5 p.m. I'm going to my mother's house. I used to stay closer to work in Lagos, but like from work, I go back home on Friday, and then on Monday, I go to work from home. So that's like, so my mom was like, ha, I'm not an over away anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm very close to my mom. I then realized the impact, the distance would be. My brothers and I, like my brothers, they come to my house and when they want like a break from my parents. So I was like, oh, nobody's gonna be ironing my clothes anymore. 'Cause my brothers are very good at ironing, and I'm very terrible at that. I don't know why, but I realized how far I was going to be from home. I realized how far I was going to be from friends who I've had for over a decade, who have seen me through different journeys. I
Yeah.
realized how I was going to be very reliant on WhatsApp and FaceTime to feel that sense of connection.
Yeah.
And I really wondered if it was worth it. I still do. On some days it is, on some days it's being very honest.
Yeah.
Professionally, I had a very fantastic job. I did not exit the country or the continent for lack of opportunities. There's a wealth of untapped opportunities in Nigeria, specifically, and in the continent, Africa itself. I had a very fantastic job working in the strategy and corporate transformation team at the Bank of Industry. It's
Yeah.
the foremost developmental finance institution in Nigeria, West Africa, if I
Yeah.
say so
Yeah.
myself. Public,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
we have the private ones too.
What would be the American version of the backup industry?
That's a
Trying to
very
think
interesting question. I don't think I've thought of that one.
before we finish this podcast. If I think of any matter, yeah,
And posts, I entered as a banking officer. I was an
yeah,
associate, and it's just something that they do with the federal parastatals. After a year, I was going to be a manager, so I was on a very great track. I didn't need too much from life. I wasn't asking too much.
and you're almost in your mom's house, so
Every Thursday, I had
food
my
from home, everything. Yeah,
exactly. I was gonna say I had my hours of legacy and a father
yeah,
every Thursday morning. Sidetrack. The first Thursday in the United States was very hard for me. I kept waiting for my mother to call that. I'm asking, "Oh, it's a good, like nobody's going to bring me a good say a gig." What I was like,
nobody.
oh my God. Back on course, I was well paid, honestly. So it was me thinking 2 years without salary. I've never taken a loan in my life. When I was in the middle of conversations with Discover. They were giving me like one crazy percentage for over 100K
Yeah,
loans. I'm like, Jesus. So yeah,
can imagine.
it was a very tough decision. Financially, I don't think a lot of people talk about how expensive the MBA application is, right? I
Yeah,
was fortunate
yeah.
to apply to a myriad of schools, and I did not pay application fee to any of them because I had a
Wow.
principle that I will not pay an institution to evaluate me when I'm putting in so much work. Maybe that's just a Sharon thing, but I don't recommend. But that was something I
I mean, it worked out, so
doubt.
maybe everyone should think like that.
But the tests so expensive, the mental stress so expensive, the distance
Yeah,
from family so expensive. You not sleeping because you have to do a 9 to 5, which is technically a 9 to 9, and then you have to get back home to read for the test, to work on your
yeah,
exams, to work on essays. It was very expensive. And then when
yeah.
you get into school, you need to pay a deposit, you need to pay this, you need to pay that. I was well paid, yes, but it was still a very strenuous financial jump converting Naira to to pay for your, US responsibility.
Things.
And at that time, I think Form A was stopped. So we couldn't I couldn't access foreign currency through, public.
Uh, yeah,
So we had to go to the black markets, which I think the Nigerian markets has finally corrected, where there is a
yeah.
closer disparity between what you can get in financial institutions and what you can get with private.
On the black market. Yeah,
But before, the gap was very enormous.
very huge. I remember. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, an extra addendum because I did give 3 buckets, but I just want to throw this in. I did get my visa denied the first time, and in my mind, I'm like, me, you get my visa, tell him I'm not qualified for an F
Mm,
visa, me that I have
yeah,
a good job. No, I'm not desperate for you, American people. Like, yeah, I'm no longer going. And yeah,
I
so
can imagine.
that's like, and this was even before the MBA. During the MBA, there was a lot of doubts, one per week or 1 in 2 days, but that's a different conversation. Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. Again, I like how every time I want to ask a question, you touch on it in the question before, so I'm like, perfect, perfect. I wanted to throw in that I did a quick Google and realized that the American equivalent of the Bank of Industry is kind of the Federal Reserve. They have a far-reaching, a greater, like I would say, monetary responsibility in the U.S., but
Mhm.
one of their responsibilities is what the Bank of Industry does in Nigeria. For context, if you're not Nigerian and you heard Sharon say she worked at the Bank of Industry, that she was a big
Hey,
girl. Okay, okay,
when you make
yeah,
that, I was working with the Federal Reserve. Period.
yes, big, big. She's big Sharon. Okay, okay. So I want you to talk a bit more about the process, right? So you started talking about having to write the GRE. I think you mentioned writing it more than once. Can you speak a bit more about that? Also, like you
Mention that.
spoke a bit about the visa, paying for bills, I mean fees in the US. I was talking to someone recently and we're estimating and it feels like if you're going to be applying to US schools, 5 US schools, And assuming you'll be applying to Columbia and Wharton, those two schools don't give application fee waivers. So if you're going to pay application fees for those two, you probably spend up to like $3,000 on just applying. You haven't been admitted, just applying in GRE, paying for fees, all of that, and it's pretty expensive. I mean, if you're applying from any emerging market country, right? So speak a bit more about that for context for people who might be thinking of doing this in the future.
Okay. So just to like answer your question, I will like also do it like talk like in three buckets. So I'll talk about my
Consultants.
tests, I'll
I
talk
like that.
about community and the application fees. I
Okay.
think in my experience was the like hardest parts, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did a couple of research and just a very honest evaluation of my individual profile, like my personal profile. I felt like I needed
Yeah.
a lot of X factors because I wasn't looking at schools lower than top 15 or top 10
Hmm.
at that time.
Hmm.
I am a brand junkie. I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry, but I'm so sorry.
Fair.
So I wasn't looking at schools.
Excellence or nothing. I like that.
Excellence abounds everywhere. I personally just wanted to be in the top 10, top 15
Hmm.
ish. So, and I was applying at, I think, 23. So I felt like I was a lot of years lower than the average age, which also translated to the fact that I had less, in quote, work experience.
Experience. Yeah.
So I felt like, and it just speaks to how like MBA applicants are also human beings. They also have parts of them that are not, I don't want to say perfect, but polished. So I personally felt like I needed as much X factors as I could garner. My age itself, though it appeared to be a weakness on one side of the coin, on the other side is a very fantastic X factor.
Strength. Yeah.
How is she
Yeah.
23
Yeah.
with about 4 years of working experience and ready to undertake an MBA to some of the best schools in the world? So one of the, I would call it in quotes, low-hanging fruits was having an X factor through my testing.
Okay.
That is my test scores. Remember, I said I was considering a master's or an MIM, and those guys, they request for GRE. It's not GRE or
Yeah.
GMAT. So I had already been preparing to take the GRE before I had like a change of direction to consider an MBA. So I took the first GRE. I had a 308, which wasn't bad for maybe like a master's or an MIM. But
Yeah.
I went to look at the test scores for the kind of schools I was looking at, like Booth,
Yeah.
UCOA, Talk. I really love Talk. But
Hmm.
then Cornell, Wharton that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Their scores at that time was like 320, 325. So I was
Yeah.
like 20, 15 to 20 points lower than the average. So I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I have to take this again. I went back to the drawing board, took a couple of prep tests, told my mother I need more food and, went back to the drawing board, implemented the strategies that I felt like would take me higher, and it worked. My second test, which I took like 2 months later, I had a 322. Great score. Not bad.
Good score.
However, English was a problem, which is
Interesting.
which is quite
Okay.
strange because I believe I have a very powerful command of the language as I do Yoruba as well. But like 322 holistically is great, but then I had a 156 and a 166.
Great. That means you had almost a perfect one
Oh yeah,
score,
I don't have
like a
problems.
160 something.
I don't have problems with math. Like I'm a numbers girl.
It
Numbers
makes sense that you went to
are the
both.
only thing that does not lie. The number will not lie. Show me
Never lie. Never lie.
Show
Fair.
me the
Fair.
number. So my quant was 166 over 170. Perfect. English was 156 over 170. I didn't want to give the admission consultant or the admission representative the problem of, does she not know how to speak English?
Mm.
Going on. So I took it again the third time. This time I was still I was still reading the quants, but it was like 70 English, 30, 70 English, 30 quants. I took it the third time, a month later, I had just a 3 points increase, 325. But at that time, it was a 160, 165. Perfect. I
Okay.
was ready to go.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, each of these GRE tests, I think it was like $225 or $250.
Dollars. Yes. Like
It wasn't
250
a lot
bucks.
to
Yes.
pay because I had the financing capacity to do that. So I was test final at 325, most especially because of the distance between my English and math. Then, for some personal reason, I just decided to take it again the fourth time. I was like, okay, let's see if I let's see what happens. Right? And I was reading with a partner at that time, like a reading partner. We were kind of like working together. For them, it was their first time taking it. But for me, I was like, it was my, I was just
Experienced writer.
doing it for the vibes. And I'm so happy I did that because I finally got that X factor I initially was looking for. I was test final at a 338. I had a perfect score on the quant. I was not surprised. And then my verbal, I had a
168.
168. So I was like, X factors,
No questions
no
asked. Yeah.
questions asked. In
Yeah.
fact, I told all the schools I wrote it 4 times. I wrote it 4 times. So you know that I really put my heart into it.
It's
When
a
people
test.
go
Yeah.
to my LinkedIn and they see, oh, your test final is such a fantastic score, I tell them I wrote it 4 times. So it's not like I wrote it once.
Disclosure. Fair.
Got it.
Fair.
That was a very long talk on the GRE test. You mentioned application fees, that schools like Columbia and Warren do not give application fees. That is partially incorrect. I did
Tell
apply
me.
to Warren and I got an
Okay.
application fee waiver. I basically told them I have a lot of expenses that I would have to incur if I do, accept your admission. I didn't even say proceed with application. So I cannot afford the application fee. I showed them I was very skeptical to show them my payslip, but I did. But then I added a caveat like, yeah, this looks really nice. But when you convert it to the
Dollars.
currency of the United States, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Really. And I told them you're also not the only school I'm applying to. So
Yeah.
if this is like a deal breaker for you, respectfully. And they came back and they were like, yeah, we'd give you a waiver. So Wharton did,
Interesting.
Harvard did, Tuck did, Cornell did, Fuqua did, Booth did. So yeah, the only school that does not or that did not, in my opinion, is Columbia. And for
I actually was almost sure that Wharton doesn't, but I can't remember. I feel like you might be the second person who told me they were able to get one. So
yeah,
if anyone is listening to this, see, there's no final no, there's no definite no. Can always put up a
I
good
mean,
case. Yeah.
in fact, if you believe there's a definite no, it's the more reason why you should ask. I mean, what would they say?
Right. What's the worst thing
You
that would
already
happen?
know.
Yeah.
You already know it's a no. You ask, they tell
Mm.
you no.
There's only upsides. Yeah.
What did they tell
Yeah.
you? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So for Colombia, I know it was a straight no, but I still asked and they said no. And the very interesting thing about principal is it's not easy. I had my essays ready for Colombia. I was gonna apply, even though I personally do not enjoy New York. I was still gonna apply nonetheless because I do have amazing friends there. And they said they were not gonna waive my fee. And I was like, okay, thank you. So I didn't apply. It was a principal, like a guiding principal. I just felt like doing that would kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what it was going to do, so I didn't. So that's on application fees. I would add a caveat and say that when I was considering the MBA, I leaned more into community, like finding like people who were on the same journey as I was and who we could like rub minds together. The Bible does say iron sharpeneth iron, and I really leaned into that. I applied to be a part of the Forte MBA launch program, which costs $600. It's very interesting. She says she doesn't want to
To apply?
pay a fee, and then she went to pay $600 to join 40.
I
However,
didn't know you had to pay to join 40.
you did. No, no, no. The pre-MBA program. Yeah.
Okay. Got
I
it.
said MBA launch program. At that time, it was $600. And I really liked it because it meant like I was going to meet women from all over the world who were gonna be on that journey, the application journey. They had a lot of like testing support, the support. I had one-on-one, panel one-on-ones with admission directors from some of the best schools in the world. Like they had the time on their calendar for me. And I don't have any experience or bias against using an admissions consultant, but I would rather go through my journey myself than give that money or more to an admissions consultant that might not tell my story the way I can, because I
I
personally
agree with you.
believe that nobody can tell my story better than me.
I share this exact sentiment.
I did do that, and it was amazing. Like I was in the same cohort with 642 women from over 72 countries in the world. Some of them are still my friends to date, and I will, if I can take back the hands of time, I will apply earlier. Really nice. And I was a part of Admits Me Access as well. Instead of like maybe just an evaluative application and paying, you have to apply, you have to be interviewed by current access
Yeah.
members. And
Yeah.
it was also really great. I did meet two, no, I met a lot of people who we ended up going to Booth together. One of
Yeah, I was a part of that one too. I think, yeah, admit me. Yeah.
maybe you were a part of Admit Me Plus, Admit Me Access
Hmm.
Plus. I don't know.
Well, I think
But I
Access
feel
was
like,
men only. Yeah, I was a part of one.
yeah.
I can't
So
remember
for the
which was specific.
fellows program itself, I met like my one of my very closest. I met a lot of my closest friends. I met Aisha Agola there. She's my sister till date. We traveled to Nigeria for her wedding last year. Interesting event.
That interesting wedding. I saw it everywhere on Instagram.
I mean, big booth, not the little one.
Okay, okay, okay.
I met Emily Lowe. We were fellows together. We went to Booth together. We're in our we're in the same post MBA company together. Really great network. I met Mia Shepherd. I met Azib Ray. Fantastic women. I'm sure there were also like fantastic counterparts as well. Aside this that I probably might not be coming. I met Shade. Can't mention all of them, but I met people who shaped my journey even before I knew they were doing that. So I think that covers like the three buckets. I think
Yeah.
I'm talking too much.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk through it. And I really respect the fact that you were very forthright, especially about the GRE, right? Because someone will hear, oh, she had a 338. I'm like, oh, I wrote the first time, maybe the person had a 280 or whatever, 300. And you're like, there's no hope for me, right? Again, the journey from 308 to 338 looks like a 30-point increase. But if you've ever taken the GRE, you know that every point increase requires way more work than the one before it. So increasing your score by 30 when you're already well in the 300 bucket is insane work. So big ups to you, and thank you so much for being very open about that. Now let's talk a bit about choosing schools. I mean, a lot of domestic students, right? They have the advantage that they can, conduct campus visits, go physically to the schools they're considering, first day in their life, and then make a very informed decision, aside from just ranking and whether I'm prestige, to figure out where do I fit as a community, where do I feel accepted and things like that. A lot of internationals don't have that luxury. So can you talk a bit about what that was like for you, right? As someone who had to make a decision before you came physically to the US, right? Yeah, what kind of resources did you lean into in terms of figuring out if both was gonna be the right place for you? And then now that you went through both, do you feel like you made the right decision for yourself? Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, that's a very loaded question. And it's very interesting that I don't know why. I feel like my research is always very detailed, but I didn't know that people could do campus visits. Like it speaks to how limited or your mind can be in terms of like conceptualizing opportunities. I did know that
Hmm.
was day, right? But it was
Yeah.
whilst I was a student, I realized that some people would just stroll into the school
Yes.
and be like
Yeah.
visits, and then they'll sit through a class,
In class, exactly. They take classes. Yeah.
$100 per class. Because
They-
I,
oh yes.
no, like I did the numbers.
Yeah, that's the
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
divided my tuition by the number of classes and the number.
That you would take it.
So I was paying
They
$100
would
per
take free
class.
classes. Yeah.
People would just come in. There was this guy, I feel like I saw him in two of my computer strategy class. And I was like, why is this boy here? Why is this boy here? So I didn't know that.
Yeah. Okay.
And when I realized that, I would say something inside of me did break a bit. Because again, I realized you know, how the gap in terms of like stuff is. But yeah, how was I able to bridge that? Or how didn't I notice the gap? Let's put it that way. What did I do
Okay.
that I did not notice the gap that
Yeah.
existed? So I think three things as well. I think one again is community. Second is community, like pre-MBA community, in and post-MBA community, and my personal research. So starting with first, like again, Forte and Access the Admit Me Fellowship. These were prospective students that were already in the US. So they gave me insights. Oh, this certain school, it's not in the bubbling city. Oh, this certain school, you probably have to commute really far. For Booth, you're living right in the middle of downtown, but you probably have to take a train every day to school. This school this, for this school that, or this school is, a red state, this school is a blue state. So I was virtually
Yeah.
people that were more familiar with the US, right?
Okay.
And now that I think about it, I feel like some of them were even sharing insights from their visits. I just didn't clock that it was a visit. Another thing I did was that every school I ended up applying to, I made sure I had one-on-one conversations with at least one admissions director
That's really good.
to at least two current students and one alumni. Caveat, these people are very busy. As
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
recent alumni and not too far ago current student, it is a lot of work that goes
It's a sacrifice.
in.
Yeah.
That's why I can't even think about any other career degree at the moment. But then to now create out time to speak to perspectives that might interpret the conversation left or right,
Mm.
or to speak to people that you really don't owe anything, it's a lot of work. So and for me personally, and now thinking in retrospect, I don't think that that was a great idea, even though I still landed where I should be. For schools that I did get a reply from, maybe enough representation, I didn't apply. Because I
Interesting.
didn't speak to somebody that's there. The website is not, I want to talk to a person of color in this school.
Yeah.
I want to talk to, if possible, an African from this school. Possible. I want to talk to a Nigerian,
Nigerian.
national Nigerian. From schools that I didn't get this thing that I was looking for, in as much as yes, now thinking back, I'm like, I really understand, blah blah. I just didn't apply. So I spoke to people, asked them my most pressing questions. From their responses, a couple of schools made the list, and a couple of schools dropped from the list. Yeah.
Okay, that's a very methodical way.
My personal research is just like putting all of that. I had this board in my room where I had like principles that I wanted to follow or possibly opportunities. Another thing I did was I looked at the employment reports. Where are their students going, especially the international?
That's very good. That's a very good resource. Yeah.
Just gonna check that in.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this employment report, and it's really good that you mentioned it. It's a free and very valuable resource that a lot of people don't look at. Like it tells you everything you need to know about the current class in numbers, right? How many people applied, the percentage is female versus not, how many percent is from regular, business fields like consulting and banking, and what percentage of the class is international. Everything you need to you probably care about as an international applying there. Yeah, so that's a good supplement to all the conversations that one would have. Yeah, thanks for chipping that in. But I mean, now that you've been at Booth or that you've gone to both, did you like Chicago? I mean, it's a very beautiful city, but very cold.
It's cold when? It's cold in the winter. Everywhere is cold in
Like which is like 7 months of the year in
yeah.
Chicago.
That's a stretch. It's more like, and this is me speaking honestly, it's more like, I
Okay,
would say November to February, like 4 to 5 months.
okay, fine, not too bad. Okay,
I loved Chicago. Yeah, I loved it. It was, yeah. Chicago,
Chicago is beautiful.
Chicago itself was one of the reasons why I went to Booth. I love
Hmm.
the city. It's the architecture, chef, very beautiful. The food, amazing.
Yeah,
I love it.
has a great food scene.
The roads are wide, unlike some other cities that when I'm working in Chicago, I have my personal space, which is like
Hmm.
maybe like 4 inches away from me
Wow.
around
Hmm.
to myself. Nobody's brushing me. This is me taking shots at the other city right now. But more serious, it's very clean. The public transportation works. And
Downtown, right?
yeah, I didn't know it works everywhere in Chicago, really.
Oh, interesting.
Outside of
Okay,
Chicago, the Amtrak works. So there are times
okay,
I've
yeah,
had to go to
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Aurora or Oakland and, the train. I didn't know how important this is until now I'm living in the city where the public transportation does work. And I'm like, oh, my Chicago, my Sheila. If I could, did I make the right decision? 100%. I was meant to go to Booth. And from the day one, I think I really was. I would say the number of current students and alumni that responded to my cold message from LinkedIn, I had the most from Booth. When I was deciding to go to schools, current Boothies were telling me to go where is best for me, even if it's not Booth. Like, they handheld me through negotiating with other schools alongside Booth. Sorry, that was like, if another school gives you more financing, if another school promises you more support, and you've seen traction of that, go there. This is not oh, I don't want you about it. Say, I want the best thing for you. if
Yeah.
that is Booth or somewhere else. So the community
Yeah.
is amazing. I would also say I was going to Booth alongside some of my closest friends from Nigeria. We ended up, most of us, staying in the same building for the entire 2 years. So I could take an elevator to go and eat someone's food. Somebody can take an elevator to come and disturb my reading time.
Mm,
Really nice. So
that's good. That's good. And one thing that I see carry across from conversations with you and also with a few other people is the fact that I feel like the people are in business. I don't know if it's a being in business thing or people who apply are just like very chivalrous, I would say, where a lot of people or most people are like, yes, this is what's great about my school. This is why I think you should come here. But also, like, it's about you, like, whatever is best for you. Let's talk through your decision. If this is a good fit for you, come here. If it's not, let's help you get somewhere else. I've seen that career across, and I just wanted to shout out the international community. I feel like we're doing something great in that direction where when people are offering help, it's not just because, oh, I want to convert for my school. It's more so you're international like me. I know you don't have access to the kind of information that I have.
exactly.
And so if I can support you to make the right decision for you, why not? Yeah, shout out to everyone. But yes, we started talking, you spoke about all the support that you got from Booth before you got there in person, right? When you then went there, when you became a student, do you feel like you still had that kind of support from AdCom, from classmates from second years when you went in? Do you feel like it was different when you were trying to, I guess when you were applying versus when you became a student?
In fact, I got more support. Very weird. The day I landed in Chicago, like my first time in the US, 3 days later, I was down with chicken pox. I think somebody infected me
Oh,
at the plane or something. And for like 2 weeks, I couldn't step out of my apartment, obviously, because I was like, I think it's the incubation stage or something, blah, blah. I never stepped out of my apartment for 2 weeks, but I came into my apartment fully furnished. A student
wow.
picked up my furniture back from the storage and set up my apartment. Opeyemi Ajao, shout out to you, my love.
Shout out, shout out, shout out to Ope.
I got food delivered to my door by people that I know and people that I did not because they were
Wow.
like, oh, a new student is sick.
Mm,
I can't step out. Somebody, I can't even remember who it is that is that. Somebody got me like a phone number so I could like reach people at home. The support was amazing and it's transcended through settling in at school, starting classes. Booth, from the day one, you have to bid for classes. So it's not like you have a set curriculum. From day one, they're handing over the reins of your experience to you. What kind of classes do you want to take? What kind of lecturers have you heard of that you want to learn under? How do you manage all of this flexibility with still meeting your academic requirements needed to graduate? Obviously, I mean, the newbies would not know this. More so me that I was like physically incapacitated. Had current students hold sessions to like bring us up to speed. This is how you have to be strategic about like utilizing the big points you have through recruiting for internship opportunities. We had fantastic wives who created time out of their own personal life to handle us through what kind of offices do you apply to, what kind of opportunities in tech do you apply to, how do you navigate interviews, coffee chats. It was fantastic. And I think current or future classes have tried to like replicate, sorry, and improve on this support. So it did not dim or diminish or disappear into the air when I arrived. It's
interesting.
it even still happens till now as an international student with loans. Current students were the one who told me, oh, this is the current alums, like older alums were the ones who told me this is the lender to refinance with. This is how you should negotiate. This is what you should ask for in terms of maintaining moratorium. So
That's a lot of support. Amazing, amazing to know that that carries across most schools. But you had mentioned earlier that, your first Thursday in the US was very hard because, you had this ritual with your mom where you would be with her almost every Thursday. And now you didn't have that anymore, right? So speaking generally about emotions, like when you first got to the US, I know for me, the first 3, 4 weeks in the US, right? I had this overwhelming feeling where I felt like I was this very tiny part of a very big machine. And, trying to find where I fit in, where I could add value took a while to get over that feeling. Did you have any, I don't want to say imposter syndrome, more so uncomfortable feelings? What kind of emotions did you have as a new student in the US? And then, what, in your opinion, was the hardest part of being an international student?
Yes. I mean, please, the hardest part was being very far from home, honestly. I do like my independence. I enjoyed it. And from home with very fundamental African parents, at a point I had to fight for it too. But I was very far from home. Like, not just far in terms of distance, that time difference is so annoying.
Yeah,
Like,
6 hours.
so it's six, it's five, sometimes it's seven.
Wow.
Like there are times I've had to like maybe go to the West Coast and I don't even know, does it increase or decrease?
Yeah.
So I think it's the distance. I think what's really hard is like when I was coming into the MBA, I already had people I've been friends with for like 8, 9, 10 years that were like a fundamental part of my routine. All right. I had like a window seat into the happenings of their life. And now
Yeah.
I'm looking through
From outside.
lens. I'm looking through a camera lens into the window. It's sad and it's annoying. Like there are times when
Yeah.
friends, would call me and be like, oh, I had a bad day and I can just like Uber to their house in 40 minutes. I'm there. Or I had a rough day at work and my mom just stops by my apartment on her way home. If I'm even lucky, I would convince her to stay over in my house and we can just like yap the whole night. That doesn't exist anymore. In
Yeah.
fact, for me to even, I mean, there's no way I had to maintain my relationships with my family friends. I have to plan it. It has to cut into my sleep time and it has to cut into their own like day or their sleep time as well. Because when they're awake, I am asleep. When I am asleep,
Yeah.
they are awake, or the only times we're both awake, they're either wrapping up with the day and I'm just starting work. Yeah. So it's that distance. Like I think for me it's I think everything pales in comparison to distance. To that distance from I think you can figure out the rest.
Yeah.
National students, maybe first gen low income background like myself, going home all the time or being able to afford like the fastest Delta tickets to Lagos it's a luxury. That's what I struggle with the most. I still struggle with it, by the way. So
Yeah. We keep going. It keeps, I think it gets better. I mean, in my experience,
it's not so.
you eventually settle into a routine that works. It's not perfect, but it kind of works.
I think for me, it does not get better and it doesn't get
Mm.
worse.
Okay.
I think the more time I have spent in the US, I would say maybe I am now able to be more present in terms of like maybe other parts, but physical, but it doesn't get better. For example, or just putting it into perspective, the longer I stay, the longer my friends age, the longer they get married,
Life after sentence. Yeah.
positive and negative life changes, and I am not
Yeah.
physically there to share my presence with them. Time or physical presence is a very core love language for me, and not being able to express that's the way I want to. It is borderline frustrating. For me, it doesn't get easier. I'm not even gonna lie.
Fair. Fair. You were in Nigeria in December, right?
I was in Nigeria in December and in February. I'm always going.
In February.
One thing about me, it's not big Sharon. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but I can do without eating if I've seen my family. I think that's how
It's
it
a
is.
core. It's a,
Yes. I think a couple of my friends are like, oh, wow, my friends in the US, how are you able to go home? Ah, that's so expensive. What if I never went? What if I didn't attend any parties or any
yeah.
restaurants for 3 months before that? What if I had to take
Mm.
more loans because I wanted to spend Valentine's with my dad? Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
another reason why I wanted to really be in HEC or why I was eyeing European schools was like, it's very close to Africa,
Very close.
close to home,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, and I knew that post graduation, going home would be a lot more tricky. Like EAD, it just gets a little bit more complicated when you transition
Yeah.
F1 to
Yeah.
F1 OPT. So every opportunity I have to go home, I grab it with my two hands and my two legs.
No, that makes sense to me. And I kind of share your sentiment. My 2 years in the MBA, I didn't do any trek, which is very interesting. Probably shouldn't tailor your life after my MBA
Never do
experience.
that.
But
Why
I
did
was
you?
traveling. I was in England 4 times a year for both years. I mean, because my family is mostly there. My mom, we meet up every time. My sister lives there. My girlfriend lives there. So I was there every 3 or 4 times a year. I was still there till January. I only haven't gone because of what you said. I haven't gone this year. I was there till January this year, but I haven't gone because of the whole, transition up from F1, F2 thing. So I do understand your sentiments. For me, being with family was more important than going on track on tracks. Although you should try and figure out a balance. Don't be like me, but
What do you mean by you never went on any trek? For
I did not.
for internationals, for a good portion of first gen low income internationals that have not had the opportunity, I don't want to say luxury because it's an opportunity to see and experience other countries, other cultures,
Yeah,
everything.
you should take
Another
it.
opportunity why I should go for the MBA because as a
You
student,
should take it. Yeah,
I went on as
yeah.
many treks as I could. And at HEC, I also met like a group of fantastic women that were able to explore the European countries. But again, after that was done, I went to.
No, yeah, no, you're right. You should definitely go on treks. I did visit 17 US states, which was great.
Oh,
Some of them with
yeah,
classmates.
that is
Yeah,
lovely.
that was
That is
good.
something I
Yeah,
want to do now.
yeah,
Now that
yeah,
international travel is a lot more complicated.
yeah, yeah.
And my friends at Booth, or who my friends who are now alums of Booth or alums of other music schools in the US, it's time to, try to figure out what do they mean by Northern, Southern America.
The West. I know when you say like West Coast, Northeast, all of that. It
The
can be
West Coast
confusing
is
to
more
someone who is
than
not in
it's more
Nigeria.
than Seattle and California.
And California, oh yes, there's Arizona, there's yeah,
The
all
East
those
Coast is
places. Yeah,
more than New York and
New
Boston.
York and DC.
And the
Exactly,
Midwest is more
exactly.
than Chicago.
Exactly.
Let's
There's
see that.
so many beautiful places. I was in Arizona 2 weeks ago and the landscape is so beautiful. It was insane. I'm like, wow,
When
this
it's time,
place. I mean, it's
when it's
super
time,
hot.
when it's time for
Uh,
Arizona,
Don't worry, great stuff. I have a elder brother that lives in. Apparently, there's a cold part of Arizona. It's called Flagstaff. Literally, I mean, 2 weeks ago, I was still in the heat of summer. They had a 73 degrees, 74-degree average, which is 30 degrees lower than what you expect in the whole of Arizona, right? So Phoenix is 105 or whatever. This is yes, yeah,
that's
in,
hotter
in,
than
in
Lagos.
Fahrenheit. So everywhere is hotter than Lagos in the summer. Yeah, it's everywhere. And they were on 73. It was beautiful. It was like spring. It was beautiful. So I'll give you recommendations for sure. So yes, please, if you're coming to the MBA, try to travel. If you don't go on treks, you don't go on treks, travel with friends, right? So
I
yeah,
mean, I
do
would say
do do something.
it's a lot harder just to bring in a geopolitical change with the change
Yeah,
visa duration and the number of entries that was recently implemented by the current government. You might not actually be able to go on treks, but I hope that you were able to get your visa or you were able to get your visa out. I don't even know, but I don't know. But the bulk of people would have this change affecting them where they have like a
I guess so. Yeah,
single entry, 3 months validity.
3 months validity.
It really
Yeah,
complicates how treks will be handled. And I'm very,
yeah,
very interested to see what the schools do to bridge that cultural gap, that
yeah,
that cultural, education that students get from going on trek. Because
yeah,
packets,
yeah,
to be honest.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, if international travel doesn't work, then come to me for recommendations. Everywhere you need to be in the US, I've been probably there. Okay, so yeah,
Right,
I can tell you where to go.
right.
Yeah, there are also places in the kind of part of the US. They're not really the United States mainland, so they call them like the protectorate or the minor, something minor, right?
I
So
know
there's Puerto Rico.
islands or
Exactly. Yeah, so I went to Puerto Rico, there's Guam. There's a couple of places, mini islands and countries that you can go to, even if like you're not able to leave the US. Those places are not really the United States of America, but they are covered by the US visa. So it's a different country, like Puerto Rico is a different country, but it's kind of
they are
under the
covered
US's
by
control.
a valid US ticket.
Exactly. So you can go to those places without a visa. Okay. So at least you should do some travel, please. Please. I want us to touch on two quick things and then I'll let you go, right? One is your MBA, I'd say community involvement. So particularly the Africa Business Club at Duke. You were a co-chair or co-president. What did that look like? How did that affect? I mean, this is usually a second year position, right? How did it affect like your other the other things that you were passionate about, so your other engagement, did it make your life more stressful? Do you feel like it's something you would go back and do if you could redo the second year? And then what kind of initiatives were you guys able to implement? The first years, the new first years, did they think that they had as much support as you guys had when you were going in?
I would say they did definitely have more support, more
Okay,
than we did, and we had enough.
okay,
So we
yeah,
gave them more. because, like I said, there were a lot of changes in the markets. We had more experience with navigating pre-MBA recruitment and a lot more diversity, in terms of like, I think we have like a rising 2Y now who is like from countries that maybe we haven't gotten like representation. So we had to ensure they are equally and adequately supported. Okay. So I think, yes, we're able to provide them with more support. I think the bulk of what we did was providing a lot more structure to already existing initiatives, okay, laying the foundation for future initiatives, which is something that I think I and my other coaches did a very fantastic job at. Okay. I mean, the MBA is more than academics, right? I think the MBA is not even as academic as the other graduate degrees, and that was why I leaned into it. Not because it was not academic enough, but because it was just like holistically well-rounded in quotes. Yeah. Right? The same effort you put into academics, you have to put that same effort into building other stuff, your network, your connections, your community, in and out of your home or in and out of your comfort zone. And part of that was also taking on leadership opportunities. I knew I was going to transition into a role that would stretch my leadership capacity and my team relating ability. So I took on things that would make me feel slightly overwhelmed. Just stepping out of that, 15% out of your comfort zone where you are pushing yourself to grow, but not also traumatizing yourself to withdraw negatively. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't think it was stressful. Booth Africa, I think I have taken a lot more initiatives even before I was a co-chair. So it was a natural progression for me. I other things that I did at Booth, which is like, participating in a comedy show, interesting, like a career advisor or being like a tech lead for XYZ or being the co-chair of Emerging Market Summit Group, where other things did not come to me naturally as I thought it was, but that I just, do it for the plot. Yeah. 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 And that makes sense. Just made me more comfortable with stepping out of my comfort zone again and doing things that maybe I wouldn't naturally gravitate towards. Yeah. 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 And I like that you mentioned, and for anyone listening to this, right, what Sharon said about the MBA not being just about academics. It's not just about academics or recruiting, right? It's even more so like the connections that you build and how you develop as an individual, right? And these roles, you don't get paid for them, but they stretch you, they build you, you become a better version of yourself. You figure out what kind of leader you are, especially if it's a leadership position. Because I mean, you're leading people who are just as talented, maybe even more talented than you. And so you have to, it's not like you're a team leader and you have subordinates, right? You have peers. And so it helps you develop and grow as an individual. And almost anyone who's going to be on this podcast, in this series, is going to have been a co-chair or a vice president of some non-academic community or engagement, right? I was vice president of alumni relations and external engagement for the Business in Africa Club and Consulting Club at Duke. A lot of the people here would be co-chairs, co-presidents of the Africa Business Clubs. So please think about doing that. I didn't know that. The God MBA. Yes, yes. I added some value as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's now talk generally about, you know, um, some of the differences in, I'd say, immigration and then employment outcomes for people. I mean, when we were applying, I knew that, the economic outlook wasn't as great as it was in 2021, 2022. We kept hearing, oh, we had a great time. Oh, sorry, you guys, the economy isn't as great as it used to be, but you'll be fine and things like that. And it feels like right now, even more so, it's a bit even worse than what it was like when we came in. And you spoke about the immigration outcome, immigration landscape as well. It's changed kind of for the worse now. And so with those two in mind, right, would those have affected your decision to pursue the MBA? Is there anything you'll have done differently if you had to apply in this current economic and immigration landscape? So I think that in our time, yeah, it was a bit wonky, right? And that's one of my favorite sayings to people that I think need or should apply. I tell them the best time to apply to the MBA was yesterday. I say that in a very interesting way. But I personally, um, I don't know the professional way to say I'm loved at though. If it wasn't gonna go well, I'd have gone home. I feel like I've said go home so many times in this pod. I'm already busy. But yeah, I'm like, even the
Mom is
firstborn,
girl.
I'm the baby of the house, even though I'm the firstborn. My younger brothers are like tall, they're taller, they're bigger, I don't know the way you boys grow once you hit one certain stage. I just came back home one day and I was looking at my brothers like this.
Everyone is towering over you.
But yeah, just to be more transparent, I was actually on a non-binding approved study leave from the Bank of Industry in quotes the Federal Reserve. So if it was bad, I would have gone home. I'll go to my mother's house and I'll go resume a
Mm.
very good job.
All right.
I do recognize that that was a luxury I had, but I was very convinced that it was the next step for me. So that's why, like, when I speak to some people, I ask them, why do you want to do the MBA?
Mm.
It presents an opportunity for more opportunities. It's not necessarily an escape for a better life, right?
Yes.
Like I see people who not see people, but like I engage with people who are not sure about the MBA and they just want to do it, for reasons
Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah.
revisited. Like, oh, I want to apply because my friends are applying. It is great to apply with your friends because you guys can support each other, but it's not like you apply because your friend is applying, right? Or you're applying to this school because you know they will get you an investment banking job. No outcome is going to do that. No career services is going to do that. You're going to have to put in the
Yeah.
work. They'll put the
Yep.
bankers in your face, bring them as close to you as possible, but you have to
Then you have to do the rest.
do the
Yeah.
rest. So I was very sure that I wanted to. Um, I honestly do not have an opinion on the current market, but me personally, I didn't apply to any school that was not going to waive my application fee waiver. Any school that did not have enough representation across gender, color, country, I did not apply. There was a very lovely school I wanted to apply to, and I just put MBA candidates in this, and I didn't see enough representation. In as much as I liked the colors of the school, and I didn't even have a conversation with any of them, just because I felt like they didn't have that community, or I didn't think I would get as much. There were other schools who had better. That's on that end. I honestly don't have an opinion on if more students should come. Personally, if a school did not waive my application fee waiver, if a school did not give me enough financial aid, the school did not give me certain things, certain important priorities to me, it didn't make sense because I had love, I had community, I had support, I had stability back at home. It had to make the sacrifice
Sense.
easy. Like, irrespective of whatever it is, it's still going to be a sacrifice. You as a person, and this is me speaking to like people who might be interested in MBA,
Yeah.
do a stock analysis of what you currently have and what you will be giving up for this opportunity. And look at what the schools are giving you. Does it make sense? Like, even with the amazing aid that Booth gave me and with all of the support and all of the community, it was still a very hard decision.
Difficult.
So, with all of the things that are happening geopolitically, with all of the removal of diversity, I genuinely
Yeah.
have an opinion because I think that influencing is really a thing. But I would just say have your what's it called? Your non-negotiables to have, your must have, and do a stock analysis. Like after you've gotten all of the offers, which you will get, God willing, take
Yes, sir.
an analysis of this school is the number one, but they gave me zero funding.
Mm.
This school is
Yeah.
number six, and they gave me total funding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Post MBA, your financial decisions, you're gonna have to live with it.
You will live with it. Hey, loans.
All of the
Yeah.
that Booth gave me, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
even going through the refinancing process, and I'm like, "Hey, Jesus." So
Mm.
you need as much financial
Yeah.
aid, you need as much mental support, you need as much diversity in terms of like race, gender, identification, representation as you can get. So would I apply to business school in this climb? It depends on the opportunities I chase, get, the advice I get from people. It's not a yes or no question.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And man, you mentioned on so many important things, right? And kind of to your point, I feel like right now the MBA, even when we're applying, right, it's a risky decision. Maybe riskier now, but you can de-risk it as much as possible, and it can be a very calculated risk, right? Like Sharon said, even if it's risky and if it meets all the things you're trying to get out of your next opportunity, and you get good funding, you're going to be surrounded by community and things like that. Those are the things that are important to you. That risky decision can be almost riskless because you risk it as much as possible. And I have a friend, to your point about funding, who in our year, he got into beautiful schools, Cornell, Berkeley, a couple of nice schools. He actually went to a lesser ranked school because those schools were giving him like crap funding, and he got like a full ride somewhere else and he decided to go there. And I'm like, bro, post MBA, we have like probably similar outcomes in terms of like employment or whatever. But like this guy has little to no loans and I have my big loans to deal with, right? So again, like Sharon said, everyone should have like they're not negotiables. You might be someone who cares about ranking. Another person might care about I don't want to have lunch when I'm done, right? So the outcomes might not be the same for both of you, but de-risk the decision as much as possible and make the decision that works for you. The other thing I wanted to keep in is the fact that there's a way to get um application fee waivers from most schools. So in the US, besides Stanford, Columbia, and Wharton, I think all of those schools have like set ways. There's already a guaranteed way to get a fund and to get waivers. If you attend Ask Me Anything sessions or this 1 hour information sessions at the schools organized, they give you like funding, they give you like a waiver for application. So for most US schools, you should be getting waivers. If you're interested in any of these other 3 or 4 or 5 ones that don't give, like Sharon said at the beginning of this conversation, assume they are gonna say no, but still ask, put your case forward. And if they say no, that's fine. Move on. If they say yes, apply them.
I wanted to add a couple of things, just like a couple of caveats. So it's okay to ranking is not everything. That's the first thing. There's a lot of things, in as much as I did admit to being like a brand junkie, there are a
Yeah.
lot of things that go into the ranking of a school that does not really concern you as an international student
Yes.
generally and
Yes.
also personally, right? They will say
Yeah.
Good was number one. The next
Mm.
year it can go to number five.
Yes.
Like it's called as number one or number two today. In 1 or 2 years, in fact, I think when we're going into school, Wharton was not even on one of the
It
very
was not on FT. Yes, it wasn't on FT. And now it's number
Wharton
one on FT.
was not on financial terms. And then imagine you're like,
Yes.
oh, I won't go to Wharton because they're not on a certain.
Because of that.
The
Yeah.
next year they
Yeah.
were number one. So
Number one.
ranking
Yeah.
is not
Yeah.
really everything,
Things like sustainability flows into ranking, right?
which is
Like,
very
yeah.
important. But like, don't be a brand junkie, not a ranking junkie. That was a clarification I was going to make. Number one.
Amazing. Yeah.
Number two is I tell, I think depending on your background and, after, like I said, you've taken all of the stock analysis, I think it's very important and make a decision that works for you. You mentioned somebody who declined terrible or non-sustainable financing from a higher ranked school to go to a lower ranked school. Who knows, in 2 years might be topping that list. I'm sure that decision is made on like financing reasons. I
Mm.
personally declined multiple full rides from some of the top
Yeah.
business schools in the world, right?
Yeah.
But it made sense to me after I did the analysis. So you can deny one school because you got a full ride from somewhere else. It's also okay to reject a full ride to go to another school
Go somewhere.
if it makes sense for you and you alone. And yeah, that's gonna add. You've been having two final questions.
No, this is not about the MBA. This is about you, right?
Okay.
One is tell me something you found out about both that you could not have found out if you hadn't gone there. So it might be as simple as you found a restaurant that you could not have found, on the brochure or something, or maybe there's a tunnel somewhere or a painting somewhere that you really like, something like that. And then the second one is tell me something that you're involved in or interested in aside all the career and educational stuff, like a hobby, an interest, something that Sharon is interested in.
I already shared one. I already shared two. I said I do enjoy a good travel. It's
Okay,
August.
there's that.
It's my birthday. I probably will be traveling. I share
That's good.
that I do enjoy travel. I enjoy cooking. So that's like all the hobbies that I've already mentioned. If there's something I have not said, I'm looking forward to retiring. So just putting that.
At 13. Let's go.
I'm very close to 30. Hello. Maybe I'd like what?
What can the Lord not do?
I
Are
mean,
you doubting the
God,
Lord?
I'm so sorry. But yeah, I'm looking forward to whenever that is. What's something I didn't know about Booth that I didn't know until I got there? Booths like to enjoy. They can party. I remember this conversation in the admit group. This was before we got to Booth, where on the Booth Instagram page there was a party and the DJ was wearing a suit.
What?
Why is the DJ wearing
Left class and went to
a
DJ?
three-breasted suit? One, and
Professional guy.
there's this saying that University of Chicago is where fun goes to die. So in my mind, I was like, okay, oh, this book I'm going to read,
Mm.
there's no enjoyment. This can pack.
Yeah.
In fact, I stayed in the building that has 60 to 65% of all of the booths. Will I make that decision again? Yes. But there was a party in that building.
That's a party. Yeah. Yeah.
The elevator, I was always hearing that turn, turn sound. The elevator was always opening and closing.
Yeah.
Always, booths can party and they
Interesting.
can enjoy a good party. Yeah, people said business school is fun. There are schools that are known for like, having a good time. Booth is
Yeah.
not one of,
Wharton is one of them.
yeah, I don't know, Booth.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you see where that fun goes to die is still true.
Mm.
The classes, the exams.
Sounds like a play hard, work hard situation, which is
So that's
perfect.
the thing. These work hard. Like there was this semester I had in 97 and I was a B minus. Are you trying to tell me that 80% and 90% of these people had 100 over 100?
100, yeah.
At that point, I was like, I don't care about the grades anymore. And trust me,
Animal,
that
don't
was
kill, you know.
that was when I made the Dean's honor list, which is very weird. It's when you don't care. That's
Mm.
where good things happen sometimes.
Sometimes,
Yeah, sometimes.
sometimes care. Sharon cares, sometimes care.
Yeah,
Just
not
kidding.
gonna lie. Booth is extremely hard. I feel like if there's anything I wish Booth was more balanced. They work too hard and they play too hard. But I was very shocked about the play too hard. Like Booths will go like I did this with friends, like I went to Switzerland with friends, and that whole week it was just vibes. But
Not sleep.
no sleep, no eating. No eating of proper food. I know I am allergic to this food, but because it's a Switzerland thing, I want to.
Like, what's the worst that will happen?
I know I should not be consuming dairy. Well, how do I go to Switzerland and not have a fondue? So I'm gonna eat it,
Mm.
even though I know I will be fighting for my existence when I get home. But yeah, I didn't know that, and the school is a lot of fun.
Sounds like a wonderful 2 years.
Yeah, I did nostalgia.
Did you give your time a tagline? Do you have a tagline for your 2 years?
No, debt is all it is. I mean,
Depth.
right now, all I can think about is my debt. But wait, what do you like?
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You have this fancy fang job. You'll be fine. Thank you so much, Sharon, for making the time to be here. I just want to thank you for this conversation. It was really good.
Yeah, it was
I'm
very
pretty sure people will
interesting.
find it
Very
useful.
good. So I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Thank you so much. Well,
Yeah. Thank you
yeah,
for
we've been
inviting me
speaking to
to.
Sharon.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity and I hope that
Thank you.
like it creates or unlocks value for people or as much people
Yeah,
as it can.
yeah, I'm confident in you. Thank you so much, and see you guys on another episode of the Business One podcast. Thank you, Sharon. This is amazing.